Yo, yo, yo. What's going on, everybody? My name is Rob Carmona, and welcome back to Rob the Mic for episode 21. So, for today's episode, I kind of wanted to finish out the whole birthday week and let you guys know how everything went, especially how the club went, because that was a lot of fun. So, we're going to just jump right into it. No bullshit. So, honestly, it was a great rest of the week. It really was. It was one of those things that I was kind of playing everything by ear and just trying to take it as easy as possible. Because like I was telling you guys about my birthday, it's always been kind of tough. And the week going through it is usually kind of tough. And especially coming into that weekend, because for the most part, I always do something at the house. I always do like a barbecue or something of the sort. So I usually have to just kind of get everything ready, cater to people, just be a host, right? Like that's kind of what being a host is. You want people to come through, but you end up working a lot and you don't really get to spend time with people. So I didn't want that this year. I really didn't want that. So for those of you who didn't listen to last week's episode, long story short, for this year, I had planned to go out that Saturday the Saturday of that week. So the 24th. And it was the best thing I could have done. So leading up to that, it was kind of a busy week. So thankfully I was able to focus on work and I had a couple family things going on. So I had to work with that too. So I feel like my attention span was like pretty locked in on certain things. So it was pretty nice. It was nice to have that. And then Friday, I ended up just taking it easy. I was kicking back. Like I was like, okay, cool. The only thing I'm going to do tonight is just chill, watch a movie, probably figure out what to wear for tomorrow and just go from there, So going into the weekend, like I felt rested. I was excited. And honestly, it's been a really long time. Like it's been years since I've gone out like to go dance and go just have a good time. So myself, the people that were going to go with me were really, really excited. So that day, I think it kind of started to settle in because I went to go run some errands and I was like, you know what? I was trying to figure out what to listen on the drive. I was like, oh man, it's got to be appropriate. It's got to be appropriate for the day. I got to get ready for tonight. So I started listening to pretty much everything that I was telling you guys about, right? Like the Summer Jam playlist. Because for me, again, for those of you who didn't tune into last week's episode and you don't know what Summer Jam is an event that I host myself. It's a car event and it's based around essentially the idea of like a 90s barbecue. So everyone's just kind of kicking it and it's like nothing but old school music. Like I capped the music off at 2000s and even then, I only have a couple jams on the playlist, like a couple, because in my eyes and in my head, I'm still not the whole like, oh, this happened 20 years ago, 30 years ago thing. Like I still have a certain generation that I try to keep it to. And I think people really enjoyed the fact that when they did attend that event, they knew they were going to hear a certain type of music. So for me, a lot of the music that's in that playlist for the Summer Jam playlist, it really stops at like the late 90s. And again, there's a couple little things sprinkled here and there. Couldn't get away from it. I was like, it's fine. I'll throw these in there. But a majority of it is there's like some 70s, 80s, and then 90s, and it stops pretty much there. So I was like, this is what it is for the rest of the day. It's simple. This is what it is. So I was playing that, vibing, running around, came back, got an unexpected phone call, and it was cool because I ended up spending some time with somebody that I hadn't seen in a really long time. And again, super unexpected, wasn't planning on it, but it was a really nice thing to be able to do. And it was one of those things where like, I didn't want the time to stop. Like I was really enjoying myself, but I rode that entire moment up until I couldn't anymore. Like I timed it like damn near to the minute. Like I was like, yo, I gotta go get ready. Because if I don't do this right now, I'm going to just throw everything out and it's going to be a mess. So that was really cool. And it was nice to kind of have that sort of good energy, that sort of good vibe, that feeling of love just already starting to radiate. And I was like, cool, man, like we're getting ready for tonight. So once I got back home, I'm telling you, I cut that shit to the minute. Like I got home and I was like, yo, I got minutes to get ready. Started getting ready, freshen up. Next thing you know, Albert and Yessie pull up and they're like, yo, dude, what's good? So I'm like, all right, cool. Like we getting started. Let's go. So we head out to meet up with my buddy Zoe and another friend Mitzi. Oh man, It was great. Like just to start the night, everybody again, energy high, everything's good. So I'm like, cool. I'm like, man, I started to get excited. Like I was nervous. I'm not even gonna lie. Like before I left the house, I was like, damn, this is crazy. Your boy's going out. That's crazy. What the fuck? But it was the best. Like I miss that shit because I used to do it so much. I used to do that shit so much, especially when I was a lot younger. And I'm like, man, this is a portion of my life that I was missing. And it's like I was talking to you guys about on my birthday that, especially on my actual birthday, that I just wanted it to be easy breezy. And I wanted to do the things that I wanted to do. It wasn't going to be for somebody else. So on Saturday, I wanted that day to be exactly what I wanted to do. So if there was something I didn't want, I wasn't even going to entertain that shit. But if there was something about it that I was interested in, oh yeah, I was going to entertain it. I was going to entertain the fuck out of it. So I think me kind of being open to that and allowing that sort of movement to happen in my life, once again, like we constantly talk about on the show, you guys, just kind of going with the flow and letting the water take you where you need to roll out. Like that's what helped me the rest of the week. That's what helped me on Saturday. That's what got me through the day. And honestly, not fighting the current made the day so easy. Because even though it was kind of stressful in a way, because I was like running around trying to do stuff. And then again, once I was spending time, like I didn't, how would you say, like I wasn't planning for like to do anything prior to going out. I was just trying to kick back and chill. But the fact that I ended up having last minute plans and I just kind of rolled with it, but it wasn't like in a stressful way. Like I was just like, yeah, let's make it happen, and just acted on it. Didn't think about it. Didn't make it complicated. I was just like, cool, let's go. It just felt good. Everything was just kind of falling in place. So even rolling up the whole night, like when we rolled up, we met up at a restaurant that's like pretty close to my place. That's like a restaurant bar situation. And the service was horrible. That I'll tell you guys. It was so bad. Oh my God. Like we each ordered a drink and it took forever. Like forever to get a drink. And it was the worst possible thing. Like I'm like, God damn, dude, we should have just fucking went and pre-gamed in the parking lot. We would have been chilling already. But it's cool. You know, again, we were kicking it. Good vibes. Kept it rolling. By the time we had like left out, or we're making our way to LA to go to the venue, it was pretty close to 10. So when we got there, it was maybe like a little after 10. And the event didn't start until 10. So I was like, fuck, I started to stress out. Because usually the lines for that event get pretty out of control. So I'm like, man, I don't want to be waiting outside for an hour to get inside. You know what I mean? Like, that's fucking lame. But it worked out because the line was like basically not even there yet because it was still super early. So we parked. Myself and Zoe got the last 2 parking spaces in the little parking lot that was across the street from the venue. So that was already a fucking win. And the parking spaces were hella tight, but it was cool. It didn't matter. We got there. We're safe. So that happens. We dip over. Dude, get in line. Smooth process. Everything's good. Everyone's good vibes. Waiting in line like to get wanded down before we go up inside. Dude, the moment we stepped inside, I felt like I was home. Like, it was the best. It was the best possible shit I could have put myself in. Like, the best situation. I was already moving. Come through the door, I was like, oh, dude, like, this is it. I'm in it. Let's go. Go over to the bar. We get our drink. And we're standing there for a minute. Like, you know, once everyone's getting their shit together. And I'm like, all right, cool. Straight to the dance floor. Like, we ain't kicking it back here. We're going straight to the fucking, I want right at the front of the stage. So we go right to the stage. And I'm like, man, this is it. Like, I'm here to get down. I start getting down right away. Like, as soon as we're like going down, I'm already like just in it, just feeling my shit going all the way down to the stage. We get down and it was nonstop dancing from the moment that I got there up until the moment we left. So we got there. I think I remember texting somebody. I mean, I remember the whole night. I didn't get absolutely plastered, but I remember texting somebody. I think it was like 10:17 or 10:18 when we were like just getting down to the bottom of the stage. So from that moment, pretty much like just after 10 up until 1:30, maybe like 1:45-ish. We were boogieing the whole time. And again, for myself especially, like dance is really fucking important. Really, really important. It's something I love to do. If there's music somewhere, I'm probably going to be moving. Even if I'm in my seat. If we're chilling, having dinner, something's going on. I mean, granted, yeah, I know. There's a time and place for everything. But hey, if the music's good, I'm going to be sitting there, what's up? Getting it a little bit. Because you have to. You have to. If the music makes you feel a certain way, you got to let your body do its thing. Honestly, that's the way I see it. The music hits you, you got to let your body do its thing. Let it go. Like let your body process that energy, and just even if it's like a little bit of shoulder shrugging, just kind of feeling it a little bit, it's all right. That means the music, it's got you. It's got a little hold on you. And this whole night was like that for me. I couldn't not get down the entire night. And it was tight because especially to share that moment or that night with like Albert and Yessie was really, really special because they've been in my life for such a long time. We've had, barbecues and, little things like that, fun outings and things like that. But this was something different. This was me getting to bring my family into a world that is very much my own. And that was mine for such a long time. I know it sounds kind of weird to be like possessive of it, like that it's mine, because it's obviously not specifically mine. But that sort of just going out dancing type of shit, that's very much myself. Like, I will fully go to a place to go dance. And that's it. Like, I'm not just there to bullshit. Like, yo, we're here to get down. So let's get down the entire night. And they got to see that side of me. And it's like I talked to you guys about being vulnerable, right? And how important it is to just kind of to drop those walls and continuously drop them. And granted, Albert's been in my life for almost 15 years. So I don't have any walls with him. Like, I have no reason to hide something from him. He's my brother. But it's cool even over time to be able to open up more and more and more, because I honestly don't think you can ever know everything about a person, and you'll constantly learn something new, whether it's with your friends, your family, your partner. Like, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm pretty sure all you guys who are listening to, as soon as I said all this shit right now, you're like, yep. It's like listening to your parents when they start talking about their stories from back in the day. All of a sudden they come out with a new story of a new situation, a new thing. You're like, what the fuck? I didn't know that. And the same thing with them. You start saying stories, they start learning stuff about you. Same thing with your partner. Oh man, you pass this one thing, it brings up a memory. You bring that, oh man, I didn't know that about you. That's crazy. So getting to share this with them was just opening another door. And it was tight because they got to see like this really raw amount of happiness. Because for myself, again, I know I've said it a few times already in this podcast that dance is really important to me, but it really is. Because when I was younger, that was one of the biggest things I had to express myself, especially like probably like around 14, 15 years old, because that's when I started really getting into dancing. And it started to get kind of serious, like where I was like, yo, this is a part of my life that I'm never going to lose. I'm never going to lose it. I'm going to carry this shit from here up until the fucking day I can't move my goddamn legs. Like, it is what it is. I started with breakdancing and it never went away. It made me happy, and it was a part of myself that I got to express love in this raw emotion and feeling in like this very visceral way with body movement. And I'm like, this is what I'm hearing right now. My body's interpreting it in this way, and this is what you're going to see. This is how I'm going to boogie. And it was always the best. So again, the fact that I got to open up that side to people that I really love and care for, because they've never really seen me get down or like be in an environment like that, because we've never gone out to a club or anything of the sort. So, and I've always told them stories and they've always heard shit, and they've seen me now and then, if we're at like some sort of car event and there's a dope DJ, they'll see me get down like real quick though on some quick shit, just walking by the DJ, feeling it. But there's a difference between being in an environment where that is the only thing that you do. And the fact that they got to see me that way. And then I also got to share that with them because we were all dancing. We're all dancing. Like every single one of us that was there. Myself, Albert, Yessie, Zoe, Mitzi. Like, we're all getting down because that's what we went there to do. And it's no judgment. It's just, it's smiles, it's laughing, it's love. And the people around us is all the same thing too. Because everyone's there for one reason and one reason alone. They're here for this music. Nobody's here for bullshit. No one's here to judge you. No one's here to fucking start shit. It's like, yo, we're all here to get down, so let's fucking get down. And I mean, the memory of Saturday night is kind of, it goes back to like the wisdom from last week in a way. Like, your memories are all you got. And my biggest goal for Saturday was to make something like a memory that I'll never forget, that I'll be able to take down with me forever. You know, on my 33rd birthday, I went out with my close homies and got down in LA. Because that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want some crazy extravagant thing. I didn't want, you know, a big dinner. I didn't want 1,000 people there. I didn't want that. I wanted the people that I really fuck with to be there and to boogie with me. I'm like, dude, I don't care if you're just on the dance floor and you're just moving your shoulders a little bit, you going side to side. I don't care. But I want you with me. That's all I want. I just want you next to me. I don't care if you don't really want to get down. Just be there with me, please. And I didn't have to ask. I didn't have to beg. These people were right away like, let's make it happen. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And the coolest thing was, once we were in it, like fully in it, we had already been getting down for a couple hours. We went upstairs because, so they have like the stage area, right? And it kind of slopes down. It's a pretty decent size like floor. But there's a stairwell over to like the far sides on both sides. One is through a door and then the other one's through like a staircase. So you have access to that. So you can dip up there. They have a bar up there too. And there's basically like a mezzanine, like balcony area. We're up there dancing, getting down. The music's a little quieter, right? Because you're a little further away from the speakers and the stage and all that. But it was so tight because we're all talking about like the next month, because this event is every month. And it's like, why would you not want to be a part of this? Like, why wouldn't this start to be a part of what you do? You know, like everybody has their things that they do. Like, I'm pretty sure, like for myself, I think maybe it's just like a LA thing. But for myself, when I was younger, especially with like my mom, like my tias, we would go to the swap meet on the weekends. You know, we'd go on Sundays early in the morning. And we'd spend the day kicking back, walking around. But you would hear this kind of music. You know, you'd hear oldies, you'd hear rancheras, you'd hear all this stuff. You know, 80s, 90s, everything. And that was a part of, like me, it's a part of my culture. And for me, going to attend an event like this is a way to keep it alive. And like the women who throw this event on, or the women who put this event on, excuse me, they know. Because this is for the culture. This is for us. This is for the people. It is for the people who come from a different time, who appreciate a different moment in music, who appreciate the past in a good way. Because I think there's a lot of things that you can go, like, you don't want to live in the past, right? But there's certain things with stuff like this where the way I see it is, it's okay. Like, keep that shit alive. Because this is that memory that you want to keep passing down. This is the music you want to keep passing down. Because again, it was passed down to me. I had no reason to be into this type of shit. I had no reason. But I loved it. Since I was a kid. Oh my God, dude. I remember, again, I can't tell you I remember the first time I heard Debbie Deb. I'm not going to pull out some bullshit ass lie like that. I know some people, I remember the first time. Shut up. You don't remember shit. So for me, what I do remember is just hearing this type of music and the way it made me feel. And I was like, man, one day when I get older, I hope I can like go to a place and then I can like dance to this. Because again, I come from an era which quite a few of you, I'm pretty sure, can relate to. Because I remember, like, I grew up with Soul Train. Some people don't even know what the fuck Soul Train is. I'm sure the moment I said Soul Train, they're like, what the fuck is that? Soul Train was one of the greatest things that ever happened to TV. One of the greatest things that ever happened to TV. If you think otherwise, we can fight about it later. But don't come at me with your bullshit. Soul Train was one of the greatest fucking things that ever happened to TV. And And I remember my little ass sitting in front of the TV. I'd be listening to R&B, all sorts of shit. I'd be right there getting it by my damn self in front of the TV. It's Saturday. Ooh, it's Soul Train. I'll be watching cartoons for a little bit. You know, obviously I have my cartoons. It is what it is. But then Soul Train. I looked forward to it every weekend. That was my Saturday. I didn't want to miss that shit. If we were going to leave the house, ooh, I'd throw my ass a fit. We ain't going anywhere until after Soul Train. I need to get my dose. So again, experiencing events like what happened on Saturday, it's a chance to kind of keep that memory alive and keep that music moving, because all of that music is the shit that inspires today. All the samples, all the everything. That's what you hear. You're like, oh, where'd that come from? Dude, that's from back in the day. This fucking person that you listen to right now, whoever it is, they didn't make that shit. That's just from the 80s. It's from the 70s. It's from the 60s, the 50s. And even before that. It's all the music that came before. So events like this keep the culture alive. They keep those memories alive. You start to hear stuff, even the conversations that you hear around people. Ah, bro, like, hey, you know, next week, even for the next day, there was people around us. I remember we were standing there for a little bit in this group of girls. They were talking about going to the swap meet the next day. Talking about going to Santa Fe Springs. They're like, hey, yeah, let's go to Santa Fe Springs tomorrow, whatever. Let's keep the boogie. And I'm like, that's fucking tight. That's tight. Maybe they were already going to do it. Who knows? But if being at this event inspired that, and they said, you know what, let's fucking go back, because it's the same vibe. Anybody who's around here from this side of town, they know what the Santa Fe Spring Swap Meet is. You go on Sundays, it's a good time. It's a good fucking time. You go, you get yourself a beer, michelada, lo que sea. And there's going to be people boogieing everywhere. Whether it's to oldies, to funk, to disco, anything. They're going to be playing some jams. And you're going to get your dose. It's going to be some down-ass fools everywhere. High socks, Dodger jerseys, Raider jerseys, tatted up fools everywhere. But it's all family. It's all love. And the fact that, again, these women were inspired and they were pushed to be like, you know what? Tomorrow we're doing the same shit. Because whatever we're experiencing right now is too good. I want this to carry on to tomorrow. And I felt that. I felt that shit in my bones. I was like, oh my God, dude. And I remember talking to Albert and Zoe about it. I'm like, dude, I never wanted to go to Santa Fe Springs so bad in my life. So fucking bad. This shit was like a drug for me. Like, you guys, I honestly can't like stress that shit enough. And I knew it. I fucking knew it. I'm like, yo, as soon as we walked through this door and I saw, you know, all the pink and I saw Scammin Jam up on the stage, I said, yup, I'm screwed. I'm screwed. I'm done. This is a monthly thing. Like, catch me not missing this shit. Like, if it's an emergency and obviously I can't make it, ni modo. I can't make it. But until that point, I'm like, oh, hell no. No way. I'm not missing this shit again. Because I've been trying to go to this event for years. And I've always been kind of like I was in a weird spot. And it's like what we've talked about before on the show too. Like being able to do shit by yourself. And put yourself out of your comfort zone to make yourself happy. To do something that you truly want to do. Not because anybody else. And I started to think about like when I was younger, especially in my teens. Because when I was going to clubs a lot, dude, there was times, you know, I'd be on way ahead of the schedule. Because I wanted to get there early. We all knew we were going to go to certain clubs. Whatever day, Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday. Because that's the shit that we were doing. We were clubbing throughout the week. And it was fucking fun, dude. Being in high school doing this shit. And it was wild. But it was the best fucking times. But again, what I'm trying to get at with that, is like, that I would go and I'd be there by myself sometimes. 100%. I'd show up like an hour or two early. Because the homies are fucking dicking around doing whatever they're doing. And they're just running late as fuck. But I wasn't going to sit in my car and wait. And I remember there was one specific event that was in Hollywood. And I had done that. I had waited. And I was like, I'll never fucking do that shit again. Like, fuck this. So the next events, everything after that, I was like, hey, I'm going to be here at this time. If you guys aren't there, I don't give a fuck. Whatever. But I'm telling you right now, I'm going to be here at this time. I get there, nobody was there. I'd hit up people, nobody will respond. Or somebody be like, hey, we're running mad late, whatever. I'm like, I'm already here. I'm gonna get down. I'd go find my little place. I'd be dancing, two-stepping my life away. And that's all I wanted. I didn't want to dance with anybody. I didn't want to pick up, you know what I mean? I wasn't trying to holler at anybody like this. It was my release. I was able to kind of just all the tension, everything that I was feeling, which especially at that time too, there was a lot going on in my life, which as for most people as in your teens, right? Like you're dealing with a lot of shit. Personal, external, all of it, everything. You're dealing with a lot of elements that are changing. And for me, again, dance was a perfect way to express that and to just let that out. You know, there was certain moments where they'd play, like especially at that time, I was a lot more into like the whole electro scene. So before EDM really became the whole EDM scene, there were certain songs by certain DJs that would get played, and you already knew like it was gonna be a fucking riot. It was gonna be on some wild shit. Everybody was just gonna be jumping, moving, getting down. Like it was always fun. But I had those moments that I got to enjoy by myself, where you'd hear a track by like Boys Noise or something like that, and it was just this like super raw, heavy, like crazy bass hit, synth all over the place, wild, just Banana Town. And it was the best thing ever. And I'm like, why can't I experience that right now? So that's why I had mentioned to you guys too, like, look, I was going to go to this event regardless. And I was terrified. I was like, yo, I want to go to Scammin Jammin regardless. I don't care if anybody don't want to go with me. I'm not going to just sit there and be like, well, no one wants to go, so that kind of sucks. I guess I'll just not go. And even saying that out loud, like, you guys, you get what I'm saying? Why would I want to cancel something or not go to something because nobody else can go with me? That's fucking dumb. That's hella sad. Like, I'm crushing my shit for other people. So I'm like, no, I'm going regardless. But I'm very thankful that I had homies with me. But the other cool part too is even, I remember Albert like told me, he's like, dude, you're in your own fucking world. Like, you're at home. You don't give a fuck about anything or anyone here. You're literally just dancing. It's you have your drink in your hand and you're getting it. Certain songs come on, you get it extra hard, but like, it's just you and the music. I'm like, yeah, man, this is what I wanted. To do something for me, to make me happy. To satisfy this like happiness, this joy, this light that I've been trying to find and seek everywhere that I can. Even if I catch it in glimpses, like I'm taking it. I feel like, as I guess this is kind of like maybe it is cheesy. I don't fucking know. It's kind of like in Harry Potter when Professor Dumbledore, he dies at a part in the series, right? And then you got Harry and the homies, and they each get gifts from him. And one of the gifts is this like little vial. And when the cap is flipped open, it catches all the light that's in the room. And the reason why I bring that up is because I feel like that's kind of where I'm at in my life. Like I have this little vial, and any moment that I can flip the top and just take all the light in the room and bottle it up, that's what I'm doing. Because when I need it, I can open it and the light goes back into the room. And that's what the whole point of that, like, that little contraption is. It's like, to capture the light and be able to use it when you need it type of thing. So Saturday was a moment, like a heavy moment, that I was able to like pop the cap and take every ounce, anything of light that I could. Because now, even yesterday, day before yesterday, I have these moments where I get kind of down, that I start thinking about stuff or whatever. I can immediately refer back to that. And, obviously I have a couple photos and videos and stuff too, but it's just the fact that I have something to be able to open and refer to that light again. That's what I need. So I need as much of that as possible right now. because I'm trying to find every ounce of myself and not lose it. And I've had a lot of moments, especially in the recent weeks, that have kind of challenged that and put me in a position to not fall back, but at the same time kind of fall back. And I can't allow that shit to happen. I can't. I've put in so much work and so much time, so much love, so much energy into myself that I have to be able to continue on the path. I don't know what the fuck the path is. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, you guys. Like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but I'm trying to figure it out. And I feel like at least the direction that I'm going, it kind of feels like this is the direction that I'm supposed to go. So I don't know what I'm going to do if there's like a fork in the road, shit starts to turn, whatever, but I'm not there yet. And I'm also trying to accept that too, is to stay right here, to not get ahead of myself. I can't do shit about the past. I can't make any changes, can't do anything. I can't do anything about the future. All I can do anything about is right now. So taking everything a day at a time with my work, with my family, my personal life, all of it, like it's the best thing that I can do. And again, what I knew that I needed for that week, especially like in a sense, like to celebrate, is I needed something to kind of feed that part of me. I needed to feed more light into my life, into my soul, into my heart, my body, everything. And I did. It gave me every ounce of it. It gave me everything I needed. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. I wouldn't trade that shit for the world. It was the best thing I could have done. And I'm telling you, between all the laughs, all the smiles, everything, I'm like, man, I kind of wish I could have like seen myself, because that's the happiest I've been in a while. Just that whole day, honestly, Saturday as a whole, like I was so full. My heart was full. I was overflowing with love, with joy, with happiness. I'm like, damn, man, like this is where the fuck it's at. This is where it's at. This is how this shit should be all the time. I don't have to be at a club. It don't have to be stuff like that. This goes for all of y'all. Like, if you focus on the shit that makes you happy and brings you happiness, it could be very simple things. Even if it's going to get a fucking scoop of ice cream, whatever. You focus on shit like that, man, it starts to make a difference. It starts to make a difference. And all of a sudden you start to feel kind of dumb because you're like, life is this easy. Life really is this easy. There's nothing complicated about it. Yeah, there's things that come into and make shit difficult, but it doesn't have to be that complicated. You know, and I was talking about this yesterday too. I was talking about it with my buddy Izzy for a little bit, going back and forth about some life shit. And also last night I had dinner with two of my buddies, Paul and Sam. Sam's going to school here right now, and my buddy Paul's from Boston. So, I mean, but both of those fools are from Boston. But it's tight to be able to spend time with them, especially Paul. Because, I mean, these are really close friends of mine. We're WFC, so we go way the fuck back. And we have that crew love. And it's heavy. Like, I met him officially, like in person, back in 2017. And, I mean, we've been even cooler than we already were. So the fact that I got to spend time with them last night and have like serious conversation, it meant a lot. And like, for example, that was something that needed to happen. Us having dinner together, chilling out, especially while he's in town, I got to take advantage where I can. But it's like I needed, again, constantly, if I could flip the cap, pull more light. Let's pull more light. Let's talk about shit. But we were talking about that specific thing, like making time for your happiness. And the fact that it's okay to be selfish with that, and that you want to experience more happiness, and that you're going to do whatever you got to do to get there. Whatever you got to do. It doesn't involve spending money sometimes. It doesn't remember any of that. Just like you have to just know and listen to your heart, listen to your gut. What do you need? You need a milkshake? Go get a milkshake. You need to go walk in the park? Go walk in the park. You want to go buy some fresh gear? You want to go get some new kicks? Go do that. Go do it. Because life's too short. Life's too short. You hear that shit all the time, but it's the goddamn truth. You know? And even on that whole life's too short thing, I mean, for those of us who follow, especially like the fashion culture around LA and that, I guess like streetwear in general, you kind of know what's going on. So yesterday, we ended up losing a pretty iconic figure, which was really fucking sad. Spanto, which is the guy who started Born and Raised, in a car accident. Wild. Like, super fucking wild. The brand is just constantly growing, exploding. And then now it comes to like a screeching halt. Because all of a sudden, this person who's like a major influence on the culture and a part of pushing the culture forward, we just lost that person because of a freak accident. And it's like, what the fuck, man? What the fuck? You never know. That's the whole thing. Like, you never know what the fuck's gonna happen. So any moment that you can enjoy with yourself, with people around you, again, to fill your light with life, to fill your life with light. Damn, I said that shit backwards. Crazy. Over here losing it. But that's what you got to do. Because that man, I didn't know him personally. I have some friends who knew him and that would interact with him. And even based on their interactions, he seemed like a person that was full of light and full of love, because he also went through a lot of shit. He had it really rough. Really rough, really tough. Came up on the street. So what he got to see was probably way fucking different from what a lot of us gets to see. And then maybe it's the same shit that a lot of us saw at the same time. So who the fuck knows? But his constant thing was just to spread love. Spread love, to inspire, to push, especially with the youth, to push them to do something great for themselves, and also to remember the community, remember the people around you, right? And it's like we've also talked about here on the show. It's like with the car shit. That's why we got to keep certain things alive and continue to push certain things. Why? Because it inspires people. It inspires the scene to move forward in a positive direction. And that's what we have to constantly remember. This is what we're fighting for, to keep cultures and keep things alive. The same way that Scammin Jammin is doing their fucking thing to fight to keep this culture alive, that's what we all have to do to some extent. We have to fight and push forward to keep ourselves happy, to keep our culture, everything that's inside of us that makes us who we are. That's the shit we got to fight to keep alive every fucking day. Because if you don't, who the fuck's going to do it? Nobody's going to make you guys happy. Nobody's going to turn around and flip a fucking switch and, oh my God, everything's good in your life. I don't care. That's just not going to happen. You could win the fucking lotto, bro. You could win 26 million, 250,000 billion trillion dollars. You're going to have all the money in the world. You're still going to be miserable as fuck. So what are you going to do? That's your responsibility. You got to find the shit that makes you happy. And I know probably even that, like, some people would be like, wow, you're fucking dumb. I'd be happy as fuck I had the money. You probably wouldn't, dude. You'd be happy for a little bit. Yeah, because you could buy shit, you could do shit, whatever. That shit runs out fast. It runs out fast as fuck. I have a lot of homies with money, different kinds of money, whether it's like new money, old money, that are going to be balling forever. They have the same problems that we do. And in a sense, some of those friends, dude, are even fucking more depressed than a lot of the people I see. Because they feel even more alienated. They feel even more alone. Because no matter how much money they spend, no matter what the fuck they do, it doesn't change anything. It doesn't make them happier. It doesn't make them do shit. Oh, they buy a new car. It doesn't make them happier. It's this weird temporary shit. Oh, they bought a new house. Oh, they bought some property. Oh, they fucking flew to Dubai. They flew to wherever the fuck, Turks and Caicos. It doesn't matter. And that's not what life's about. Again, it's stripping that shit and pulling it back. And really thinking about and figuring out what makes you happy. And it's feeding that little monster, because that shit's what's going to help you every single day. That's what's going to get you out of bed. You got to keep you got to watch the company you keep. And you got to make sure and filter out shit throughout your life. Keep it positive. Because again, a lot of the things that have been happening to me recently, I've been very cognizant of what the fuck is coming in and what's going out. And certain things, to be 100% honest with you guys, like I've been gambling quite a bit, you know, not like actually gambling, like sport betting type shit, but like I've been gambling with a lot of situations and certain people. But I also feel like I'm in a place that I can do that. Before, I couldn't do that. I couldn't gamble with certain relationships, certain people, couldn't do that. And what I mean by that is like, put a bet on that relationship, put time into that, do whatever the fuck. It's like being at a craps table, right? And you're like, okay, fucking $100 on Black 21. Now I can bet both sides. I can bet black and red all day. And it's cool because either way I'm going to win. If I don't get what I need from this person, or if I'm not experiencing what I need to experience, it's totally cool. I can walk away from it, wipe my hands. It's no big deal. Even if it hurts a little bit, I can still do that more now than I ever could in my life. You asked me 6 months ago if I could do that. Again, there's no fucking way. But between the self-work, the therapy, all those things that I constantly talk to you guys about, that's the shit that gives me the strength to keep pushing forward. But at the end of the day, it's something that I have to do. It's the same thing for all of you guys out there listening. It's something that you have to do. You have to put in the time. You have to put in the work. Because eventually you're going to hit a point, you start to listen to yourself. And when you start to quiet yourself down, you start to lose who you are. And when you start, because if you're like a people pleaser, anything like that, for those of you who are in those kind of shoes, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. You start to lose yourself. You start to lose your sense of identity because you feel like you're living your life trying to make other people's shit come true. Whether it's constantly fulfilling other people's plans, constantly doing stuff for other people. Like, there's a one thing to live your life in service. I understand that. But there's a difference between letting people take advantage of that part of you and you doing it for yourself. If it makes you happy, if you like doing that shit for people, so be it. But also understand there's limits. There's limits to that. And you have to know when to stop and why and how important it is to stop at certain moments. So to shoot back to last week, starting on my birthday, those were things that I needed to do. There were certain things I was like, yo, this is what I want to do. This is why I want to do it. Because this is going to bring me happiness. This is going to bring me joy. This is my time. Right the fuck now. This is my fucking time. No one's going to take that shit from me. No one's going to take my happiness. No one's going to make me feel otherwise. This is my shit. And it's going to stay that way. And it did. Because I took control of that shit. And I wasn't going to let anything fuck it up. Nothing. Like zero, zilch. Nada. Get the fuck out of here. If it's not good for me, if it's not what the fuck I need, step. I got no fucking problem walking away from that shit. If you don't like it, that's a you problem. That's not a me problem. And it's like I had also mentioned before too, like it's like recently I've been losing a lot of people, but the right people have stayed. And I've also gained certain people that again have filled certain cracks and certain voids. And it's like, yeah, this is what had to happen. So everything that I've been kind of putting time and energy into has been paying me back. I've been receiving the fruits of that. So even though when I talk about Saturday, I say, oh, it's about the dancing, it was so much more than that. It meant so much more than that. Because what it gave my soul, what it gave my heart, what it gave my body, what it gave me as a person, nobody could ever take that shit from me. And I think that's a part of what it is, man. It's constantly giving yourself something that nobody can ever take from you. Whether it's memories, whether it's a feeling, whether anything. Shit that's truly yours. That only you can have. The shit that before you go to bed, you sit there, you look up at the ceiling, and it's you and yourself and your thoughts. And if it's all beautiful stuff, think about it. If it's all beautiful stuff, if it's positive, I'm not talking about being this happy-go-lucky type of person, but I'm saying if you filled your vision and you filled your life, your heart, your soul, you filled it with positive, love, good energy, good people, good situations. I mean, it sounds like it's crazy, right? Because it sounds really simple, but it's the truth. You can do that. You can start to mold and you can start to do shit for yourself. And again, if you do that, no one can take it from you. And I can tell you, as fucking living proof, last week, that's what I did. That's what the fuck I did. And I was like, damn, dude, this shit makes a difference. And I know a lot of people, you know, they get really excited about New Year's, New Year, New Me, January 1st. That's not the way I see it. My New Year's is my birthday. Because that's my new year. That's a chance for me to just kind of, that's why I was going to, like I was talking to you guys also about going into reflection and really starting to think and feel it, like go through everything that I went through in the last year. Because I think about how everything affected me. And then I'm also thinking about how to not continue with certain things and how I'm going to stop certain habits and do all this and do all that and move forward with a different kind of light, different kind of positivity. Just how do I go in a fully forward motion from here on out? So if you start to shift up all of that mentality and you start to replace the things in your life that are negative or start to fuck with you, start moving that shit out and replace it with shit that feeds you in the right way, you'll be fucking unstoppable. You start to see life different. You start to process life differently. The message that you start to spread with people is different. People start to feel that, like, damn, dude, like, you're starting to change up. You might positive, like, oh, you got all kinds of good shit to say now, you know? You can still talk your shit, you know, and be a little dickhead. Obviously, a lot of us are like that. But when you have love to give and to share and to radiate, that energy is unmatched. Unfucking matched. Nobody touches it. And it's sick. It's sick when you have people around you who match on that wavelength, you know? And as much as, I guess, as we come to an end with the cast, it's like, I obviously throughout this episode, we've been bouncing through a lot of like past and present and cultures and keeping certain things alive and doing all this. It brings me to a quote that I heard, which is, I guess, like the wisdom that I'm dropping for this week. And it was wild because when I heard it, I was like, God damn. I was like, that's tight. And the moment I heard it, I was like, I got to share it with everybody. Everybody got to know. And the quote was, to never let your past experience harm your future. Your past can't be altered, and your future doesn't deserve the punishment. So again, never let your past experience harm your future. Your past can't be altered, and your future doesn't deserve the punishment. And basically, I mean, I'm going to let you guys interpret that however you guys see fit. But for me, it's exactly what it says. There's no need to make it more complicated. There's no need to break shit down. You can make things as complicated as you want them, but it's simply that. And it kind of made me think about my birthday. You know, to not let my past experiences harm what's coming to me. And even if, for example, the past does come up, it's okay. It doesn't make you a bad person. If there's another chance, if there's something going on, there's another opportunity that came up from back in the day, it is what it is. You take it. You take it, you run with it, you see what's up. You take the day as it comes. The life that you got is the life that you got. The universe gives you these opportunities and puts these things in your life for a reason. You can run with it, you can run away from it. However easy you want to make your shit, however you want to flow with it, let the water take you where it's going to go. But you also still have some say in it too. And it's true because your past you can't change anything about it. There's nothing you can fucking do. It doesn't matter what you say, what you do, however, whatever. You can process it different and you can feel differently about it, but you can't change what happened. And it's true that your future doesn't deserve that sort of punishment. And you have to be careful with that. Because, you know, you open certain doors, you allow certain things. You got to be really careful with that shit. Really careful. Because you never know. Because it can happen. The past can repeat itself, right? Things are cyclical like that. They can start to fall back into this really toxic cycle, and you got to be careful. But it doesn't always have to be like that. That's what I'm saying. Just because something from the past comes back, whatever it is, whether it's a job, a person, family, anything, you can always allow certain things to happen, especially if you have more of a control over it. Because if you have that control, you also know when to walk that thing back out. You let that shit into your house, you know when to fucking ask it to leave. And sometimes you might have to force it to leave, and that's okay. Sometimes you got to do that. I've definitely had to do that. But I think I've grown and put myself in a certain situation, and I've been able to process things differently to where I can allow things to happen and navigate and guide it in every possible way. If I see some hurt coming or I see something going to go down with it, I already know to kind of like, let's dial back a little bit. I'm kind of sensing something. I don't like how this feels. Maybe it feels familiar, but in a bad way. So I'm like, listen to that shit. Which again, we're going to have constant themes and subjects that we keep talking about on this show. And because it's so much a part of my life, and I want you guys to understand that. So feeling and listening to your gut. That's what it goes back to. Your gut will fucking tell you what's good, what's bad. Listen to that shit. Hear it out. Don't always listen to your heart. You know what I mean? Because sometimes, you know what? Your heart knows the heart wants what the heart wants, but it's not always the right thing. So you got to be careful sometimes. Listen to your gut. Your gut tells you a certain thing. Okay, you know what? I'll fuck with it a little bit. You can let things in a little bit, you guys. You guys don't always have to open your fucking floodgates. I think that's where people fuck up too. And I fucked up a lot in the past with that. I don't just let it in like a little bit. I don't like slightly open the door. I don't open the window a tiny bit so a breeze can come in. I fucking blow that bitch open. Soon let everything fucking take me out. Take me out. Floodgates are open. The dam just fucking broke. Come through. And that's a dangerous way to be with everything. Because if it's positive, it's a great thing. Right? You can open the floodgates, let that shit crash into you, whatever. Let it take you out. Positive. Good vibes. Love. Wash over you. But you got to watch out for the flip side, because sometimes things can start off like that. And then all of a sudden the current starts to change and the water starts to get a little too heavy. Shit starts to get choppy. It starts to get real stormy bad. And you're like, oh, fuck, dude, this isn't what I thought it was. It was smooth sailing for a second and now it's not. But you have all the control with that. All of the fucking control in your life. You can't control shit for other people. You can't do anything for anybody else. You can't force people to do shit. But you can do that shit for yourself. So be cognizant of that. Be aware of that shit, you guys. It's super fucking important. It's something that I deal with on a daily basis. Daily fucking basis. I have situations that I run through, whether it's, in my head, whether it's in real life, that I have to constantly decipher what's up. And ride it out until I can't, or if it's not good, back up a little bit. And almost weekly, for sure, I have these moments. But the more that I face them, the more that I work with them, I also need to continue to work on myself. Because it's like going to the gym, right? You work out, you're building your strength. You have to do that with yourself too. Because it's not just your muscles. You got to be strong here too. Your heart, your mind, your body, everything. You got to be strong. You got to be in a good place. Keep yourself right so that you can make the best decisions, the most educated, full of love decisions for yourself. The same way that you care about other people, you got to care about yourself too. Return that shit right away. The same way you would tell your homie to, hey, this is my advice with the situation like that. If you have a situation like that, you got to be willing to take your own shit. Because I know for myself, I'm horrible at that. And a lot of us are guilty of that too. But I've been trying to change that 100%. I notice I get myself in a pickle and I'm like, damn, if this was Albert, this is probably what I'd say. Probably what I'd tell him to do. I should probably do the same thing. And there you go. Start taking my advice, start doing my shit. Or like we've talked about too. Like I reference the show. I think about it. I'm like, fuck, man, I already talked about this. Even last night when I was with Paul and Sam. There were so many moments that I'm like, oh, dude, like we're like, yeah, we talked about this shit in the podcast. Oh, we talked about this shit in the podcast. Because this is stuff that we're constantly dealing with as people. These things never go away. They never go away. It's just how we manage it. But again, never let your past experience harm your future. And your past can't be altered. And your future doesn't deserve the punishment. So I appreciate you guys for tuning into episode 21. I can't wait to see you guys next week for the next one. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Have a beautiful rest of your day, rest of your week. Have an incredible weekend. And I'll see you guys on the next one.